Well, welcome everyone to this session of Cerebrate New Zealand. We are also soon growing to take in Cerebrate of the UK with Lisa Hooks. She just joined me. But we also have a wonderful panel that's part of this panel discussions regularly. We've had a few of them last year, and we also had a few other guests. But this is the core group for our panel discussions. Let me quickly introduce them. It's Kylene Ledger, and Kylene is, I'm not going to say what she is because that's our first question. She'll explain what she is. But she's from Australia. I'm from New Zealand, and Estelle is from Amsterdam, and Frank is from South Africa at the moment. He's originally from Zimbabwe. Estelle and I were also born in South Africa. Kylene, I think you've always lived in Australia. Well, welcome to our guests from all over the world. Thank you for attending this meeting. I hope you will find answers and be inspired to either be a coach or a mentor, or find a coach or a mentor who can help you either in your personal life or in your business life. My first question I'm going to pose to all three of you on the panel, because I want you to tell us, what do you do? What type of coach or mentor are you? And I think maybe we'll start this round clockwise. So we'll start with Kylene, and then Frank, and then Estelle. Kylene.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I'm a I'm a coach that helps heart-centered individuals to get unstuck and reconnect with themselves and their purpose. And by doing that, they can then live a full life. I call myself a holistic life and communication coach because I'm passionate about the communication that we tell ourselves, but also the communication we have with other people as well. I think that's a big part in having that holistic balance in our life.
Frank, your turn.
Thank you very much, and good day, everyone. My name is Frank, and I'm the founder of Frankly Speaking. So personally, I'm an executive and team coach. So I help many executives build high-performing teams, and my particular focus is on helping leaders, improve the leadership behavior that is required to enable a high-performing team, and also to help the teams move from the safe player attitude to bring their A game to the team. So that's what I do. Thank you very much for having me on this panel.
Wonderful. Thank you, Frank. And you, Estelle.
Hi there. So my name is Estelle. As Elizabeth said, I was born and raised in South Africa, but I spent my 20s and my 30s living in the UK and now living in the Netherlands with my Kiwi husband and two children. So we're also quite multicultural as a family. I'm one of three co-founders for a company called Mental Jam, and we're a business dedicated to improving diversity and fostering inclusivity through mentoring and community building. So we work with companies who either want to create communities within company or have communities already that they want to be more engaged. And, along the way, I had the privilege of working with some really incredible mentors, and we'll be sharing some of those stories later. And, because I've experienced mentoring, not only from a mentor, but from a mentee's point of view, I want to be able to give other people the opportunity to experience the same such opportunity. So I now dedicate my life to helping people connect with mentors and people that they would not have met otherwise.
Wonderful to watch your journeys as you grow as mentors and coaches. I watch them all on social media, and it's really exciting to be part of that journey. So Estelle, it's your turn to tell us, why did you decide to be a mentor?
Well, there are many, many stories I can share, but I think for me, my life would have been really, really different had I not had the opportunity to work with some really great people along the way. I would not have spent 23 years working in the field of HR and people development. HR was something, and I didn't grow up as one of these people who's like, I want to be this or that when I grow up. I want to be this when I'm bigger. It was always quite like, I want to travel. I want to see the world. I want to help people. And I want to just be part of making, life fun and great for other people. And I love seeing others do and achieve things that they never thought were possible. And I think because of that and the kind of people that I've met along the way, I am able to, I'm really keen and curious to help, from a mentoring point of view. I would not have discovered my love for entrepreneurship or for innovation, for instance, or working in startups. I didn't grow up thinking, I'm sorry, I'm recovering from a cold. I didn't grow up in a home where entrepreneurship was like a thing or startup or, my dad was in banking and had the same career very much, like just one career. So for me, it was like, surely there's more to life than just doing one thing forever. And so working with different people to discover various aspects of my personality and my goals and my passions and my values really helped me mold and create a journey for myself that's, pretty happy with. And I'd love to see that in others.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. I always look for mentors and for coaches, people who can help me to grow, because I always think one day when I grow up, but I'm realizing that I have grown up. Kylene, what do you see as the difference between a coach and a mentor?
Fabulous question. I see a mentor as somebody that has already walked the path that I'm walking. So they're a number of steps ahead of where I'm going. Whereas I see a coach as somebody, they may not have actually walked the path that I'm on, but their main purpose is their listening skills and their ability to ask questions to be able to help me explore my path and to find it within me. Sometimes as a coach, though, I do see the mentor hat coming on. And when I'm in the coaching situation, that is when I would ask my client, is it okay if I share some experience or knowledge with them? And it's up to them, and they can say yes or no. And if they say yes, then I will share that. Whereas when I'm mentoring, the whole purpose of me being a mentor is to share that knowledge and experience with them. So that's where I see the difference. And both of them do interchange a fair bit, and I find myself coaching and mentoring a lot. So it's just remembering what hat I've got on at the time.
Yeah, I often see you wearing either the one hat or the other. Now, Frank, do you think as a coach and a mentor, because I know that you are also both, is it important for you to also have a coach and a mentor?
I would like to say that I actually accidentally got my first coach was by accident. And so they really helped me grow and took me to almost where I am today. And so at one point, things were very difficult for me financially, and I actually couldn't continue the coaching. And that's after a few years, I discovered that I was a bit stuck and I couldn't go far. And that's when I discovered that, my ability to help myself, whilst I would rate myself highly in terms of that, is not necessarily my ability to help others is not necessarily equal to the ability to help myself. And that's when I discovered a very important saying: a cobbler actually has holes in their shoes. Or if you think about a mechanic they're probably very good at fixing your car, but they themselves drive a broken car. So I cannot overemphasize the importance of actually having a coach or a mentor yourself. I've since re-engaged a coach in my life, and I've got a few mentors around me, and I think they've made a very big difference in my life, and I would recommend the same for you.
That's wonderful to hear. Now I want to hear from you, Kylene. Do you have a coach or a mentor?
Absolutely. 100% agree with what Frank was saying as well. as a coach, I can't do it on my own. You kind of think, oh, yes, I can, but you only get so far on your own. And without a coach, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. So I definitely have a coach. I've been with her for coming up nearly 2 years, my current coach. I also have mentors as well for different parts of my life. I have a mentor, a book mentor, and I have a speaking mentor, and I also have a leadership mentor that also help me. So I've got a team of mentors and a coach. And I'm also doing right now further development in coaching. So I'm currently participating in a high performance coaching program out of the UK. And what I love about this is I'm in a pod with other coaches. I love accountability groups, accountability coaching groups. And I've got one of them as well that's helping me at the moment. So definitely I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't do this. If I just let myself stop, I wouldn't be able to give the best I can to the clients or to myself. So absolutely have to have coaches.
I especially enjoy the idea of an accountability mentor, because that keeps us on track. It's very easy to lose confidence, and you sometimes need someone to remind you what's important in life. Estelle, how did a coach or a mentor help you?
Well, I think if I think about one really key mentor that I've had would be the woman that I met when I first arrived in the UK. So this was a long time ago. And as I mentioned earlier, living in South Africa with my parents, and my dad being a full-time breadwinner and my mom being a stay-at-home mom, for me it was like, where are all the women? Why we're in business? I go to the office on a Saturday morning with my dad. I sit on the trade floor as a little girl, and I'm like, all these men everywhere. Where are the women? And from that real curious thought, when I arrived in the UK, I had I'd studied and what do I do next? I met this woman who really took me under her wing. And she really, after a while, she was like, you really need to think about working in HR. You've got such a connection with people. You've got this, that, and the other. Why don't you think about it? And I was like, absolutely not going to happen. And it was just like, no way. I had such bad experiences with HR in the past. I was like, nah, it's all about process, policies, red tape, and politics. Nah. And she was like, no, you can be a really, really different type of HR person. And it's like almost I put a stake in the ground, and I was like, yes, I am going to be that person. I'm going to be that different person. I'm not going to be the HR person who just lives by rules and processes and policies and procedures. I just find that it just makes me come up in a rash. I want to be a really, really different HR person. So I made that my life purpose to be really, really different when I approach human resources and people and talent development. And it's made me really, really, it helped me create a really, really successful career, because I am that different. I have that different approach when it comes to people and talent development. And I have her to thank that, because I would have never even considered moving into that space.
Yeah, I love what Kate said in the chat, putting back the human in HR. And I think so why you enjoy coaching and mentoring others. Now, my question is to Frank. Frank, how will someone looking for a mentor or a coach find someone that's suitable for them?
I believe finding a good coach or mentor is about, good chemistry. In fact, particularly with mentorship, a mentor is like a very good friend. And so if you do not get along, that journey is actually going to be very difficult. So a few steps I would go through personally when finding myself a coach or a mentor is I need to be very specific about my my objective in wanting to actually get a coach or a mentor, and which of the two would actually work effectively for me. I've had quite a number of experiences in my life where I've been in mentorship relationships that actually go nowhere. It's just a name that I've got a mentor and things are not happening. And so it's important for you to discover, speak to friends, speak to other people that will help you have that very clear objective of, what exactly you want to achieve, and go about finding someone who actually is specifically good at solving the challenge that you have. And then beyond that, it's about the energy. Connect to a couple of coaches and try and test out the energies. Make sure that, you feel that person gets you. That's something I value so much, the coach or a mentor, someone seems to get me and where I'm coming from, and someone that I'm going to respect, because ultimately, the change can only happen from me, the coachee or the mentee. And so I need to respect the person I'm dealing with so that I can actually act upon whatever we discuss on. And then the third thing is, it's important to understand, the approach that the coach or mentor are actually going to use. And maybe this is a little bit more important in coaching. A lot of times people fail to understand why they've actually connected to a good coach. Their objectives are clear, but nothing seems to be happening. And sometimes it's because the approach that a coach or a mentor may be using may actually subtly go against your values. And when something is not in alignment with your values, naturally, you're never going to achieve peak performance. So it's important for you to understand that dynamic of what approach they'll use and how things will go. So for example, personally, one of the reasons that actually influenced the coaching program that I went for, is particularly in leadership coaching, is I felt that they needed to be measurable outcomes. So I offer measurable leadership development. And that's, for example, a value and an approach that I feel works very well for the clients that I work with. So that's what I would recommend.
We've now used coach and mentor very often, but there is a boundary between the two. For a long while, I thought of a mentor as someone that you don't pay and a coach as someone that you do pay. But my mind's shifting quite a bit. And I think we should all debate that. Estelle, I know that you call yourself a mentor, so maybe you can start this round and we'll go anti-clockwise this time. Let's debate the boundary between coaching and mentoring.
Now, of course, the payment one comes up a lot, and there are some really great arguments for and against, expecting payment, etc. And I'm on the side of the fence where I feel mentoring is not necessarily paid for. Coaching is something that you would specifically get paid for. There are obviously other ways that you would remunerate in that way, but I think that's not really, and we touched a little bit about the personal experiences versus the not personal experiences as well through this conversation. And I think for me, that is really the key differentiator, not really the payment or the non-payment, because people have such wide views on that, because they're still providing a service or something. But, really, as Kayleen was saying, someone who's walked that path, who can really talk about experiences that they've done and using phrases like, when I did this, or when I went through that, or this is, what I experienced, and really being able to share personal highs and lows and failures and wins, etc., with another person. I think that's where real magic happens, right? Because it's not stuff that you can read in a book. It's not something that you can just look up online and, but it is someone who's actually lived, who's walked that journey, who can give you some real life examples. So for me, that is a really big differentiator between the mentor and the coach aspect.
Yes, I know that for my voice, I would need a coach to help to make my voice stronger, because it will be someone who teaches me specific ways of making my voice stronger, while a mentor can guide me on a lot of other ways. So Frank, what do you see as the difference or the boundary between mentoring and coaching?
So I think mentoring is the big, broad further, you get mentored for many reasons. You get mentored for direction. You get mentored for accountability. Sometimes you also get mentored for performance. So you're qualified to be a mentor by experience. You've been there, you've walked the journey, you know where the potholes are, you know all the skills and direction that you need, but you get coached for performance. And I think for me, that's one of the first major boundaries that we have. Coaching really focuses more on performance. And for mentoring, many people go there for direction. You've been there before, so they are looking for your advice. Whereas in coaching, we actually ask questions so that you're able to self-sustain going forward. So that's one of the first differences that I would outline. The next difference that I would outline is that in mentoring, you can actually use coaching as a way of mentoring someone. In certain instances, you want stickability and you want your mentee to almost build their thinking capacity and their ability to make their own decision. Whereas with coaching, you're just focusing on the questions that the person needs to actually come in and, figure out things themselves. So normally as the mentor, you're coming in as the expert, whereas as the coach, the person you're coaching or the coachee is the expert and you're helping them discover the light between themselves. So for me, that's kind of where the boundary is between coaching and mentoring. You're mentored for many various reasons, largely direction, accountability, and sometimes even performance. And you can use some coaching techniques. However, we coach for performance. And most of the times you use questions that help that person, discover things by themselves and move forward. And for me, that's what really differentiates the two, and what also qualifies you to be a mentor, like we said, is experience, whereas as a coach, you don't necessarily need to have actually walked that journey. And so that's what I would say so far.
Yes, I'm just thinking about the experience the coach need. You kind of have to walk the walk before you can help someone, but not necessarily in the same sphere of influence that they had. But let me give it over to the experts. Kayleen, tell me again, what do you see as the boundary between coaching and mentoring?
Yeah, it's interesting because I've been listening to everything that's been shared today, and I thought the first thing I want to tap into is the money side of things. And that is, and I've heard people say it before, but it's true to me. I buy free courses all the time, but do I complete them? And the answer often is no. So while, and I'm an Australian, so I've got mates rates. It's like you always do, hey, mate, let's buddy up and things like that. But that's one of the biggest learnings that I have had is that if people aren't investing, if they're not putting some money, and what I'm learning is the money figure has to be uncomfortable for Kayleen, but it also has to be uncomfortable for the client, for the person that I'm going to work with. And sometimes, because I am my own boss, I've got the flexibility of going, okay, my uncomfortable may not be the right uncomfortable for the client, but then I can put questions to them and help them come up with an uncomfortable figure for them to do it. Because when I do invest, I put in the time and the effort to get the outcomes that I want. So from a money perspective, I thought I would share that point as well. Boundaries with coaching, it's the area that I thought of when you first talked about it was between having the coach always there to help the client, becoming I can't even think of the right word right now. They become dependent on you. And that's not what I want. So recently I've made a shift in my coaching because of this program I'm doing. And my shift is I'm now only offering coaching for the first 3 weeks of the month. And week 4 and week 5 is for them to apply and for them to set their own challenges and for them to do without Kayleen. Because ultimately, at the end of a 3-month program, I want them to be able to fly on their own and not be so dependent on Kayleen. So I'm very much, as a coach, I want to be there and I want to help them all the time and give them everything that they need to support them. But I have realised in the last 6 to 8 months that boundaries are really important to allow them to fly on their own without you. Coaching partnerships may go on for a year or two. I'm doing that with my coach, and I've got clients that are doing that with me. But I always have the end in mind that I want them to be able to fly without Kayleen. So that's a boundary that's important for me as well.
Oh, that's wonderful to know that you will grow enough and see the results that Frank's talking about. In closing, before we have a Q&A session, what is your final piece of advice for someone sitting on the fence, whether they need a coach or a mentor? And I think we'll start with Frank because we didn't give him a time to start.
Okay, I would like to quickly piggyback on something I didn't comment about, the payment side of things. Something I heard which might be important is that you pay to pay attention. And when you pay more attention. And so a lot of us are always asking, how much will it cost me in terms of time or resources to actually have a coach or a mentor? That's not the first question you need to be asking yourself. You need to be asking yourself, what is the cost of not having a coach or a mentor? And the answer to that, you will not waste any other day without a mentor or a coach. So that would be my final piece of advice.
I'm going to have to change my strategy on this.
So, Estelle, do you want to go on from there, or do you need a moment to change your strategy?
No, you know what? Yeah, I mean, like I said in the beginning, the payment topic comes up a hell of a lot. And we work with, nearly 40 different communities where mentoring is, at their core. And so this is a great debate around the payment option. But I think for me, the advice, if you're really on the fence in terms of a mentor or a coach, think about it's going back to thinking about your goals. What is it you want to achieve? What exactly is that you think that you need to be able to take that next step in your career or in your life, or, really, really think about your goals. And there are many different tools and things that you can use to help you think, work through goals. And then think about the network that you already have. That's a really great source of, kind of gold right there. People that you already know, admire, look up to, get inspiration from, etc. And think about how you can connect with those people to help you achieve various different or various goals within your life. And then just have a chat, approach them. Don't be afraid. I think for me, that's the biggest thing. Going to someone and saying, hey, I need some help is such a great way to, have open a conversation. And more often than not, the person on the other side would think, you want me to help you with something? Yeah, that sounds great. And, don't be afraid to do that. But I think the main thing is to think about what it is that you want to achieve. Think about that one goal or that, that aspect that you want or need improvement in your life or your career. Nice. And then your network. Think about your network. Gold dust.
Now, I just wanted to say that now networking will be the topic of our next panel discussion in June. So anyone who wants to talk about building a network when you're a coach or a mentor should come to our next panel discussion in June. But Kayleen, let me give you a chance to give final advice to someone sitting on the fence.
I absolutely love everything that Frank and Estelle have said, because as I was sitting here, I'm going, okay, you want to know what you want to achieve. You want to be really clear on that. I would then say, have a look at what you have achieved in the last month or 2 months or 3 months, because I know when I look back, it's a wish. I really, I might have made small steps, but having a coach I know will make me, accelerate through that. Open your eyes to who is around you, who is already doing what you want to do. And as Sal just mentioned it as well, have that conversation with them. Ask them, about what they've, how they got to where they are, what support did they have. They may be your mentor, or coach, or they may point you to a coach or a mentor that helps them along the way. So definitely, and the other thing is, dream bloody big, dream huge, because you can achieve it. And if you dream huge, there are mentors and coaches out there that are going to help you every step of the way so you can achieve what you want to achieve. Back to you.
Definitely. I'm thinking about my writing coach. Paying someone to tell me whether something is good or not gave me more confidence than anyone else could give me. Knowing that this person really knows what they're talking about, and they find value, or they find what I do wrong, that helped me grow more than anything else. So now the floor is open. So everyone now can ask questions about coaching, about mentoring, and you can approach any of our panel members. Someone's got a hand up. Sorvel.
Yes, hi. My question is for Frank. So you mentioned that, when you're coaching someone, they are the expert. I hope I don't have it the other way around. When you're coaching someone, they are the expert of what they're doing, whereas when you're a mentor, then you're more of the expert. And when I'm coaching, I usually tell whoever I'm coaching that, you know your product or your business better than I do. I'm just here to sort of lead the way. But now, when it comes to mentorship, when do you then, when do you draw a line between, just listening to or taking in everything that your mentor tells you and you just following your instincts? Because it's not that you have to follow every single thing that the mentor will say, correct? So now, how do you draw that line? When do you now say, okay, this I agree with, or this I will take? Is I always take everything with a pinch of salt. I hope my question is clear.
Well, I think it is. In fact, one of the biggest mistakes people make is that thinking that by virtue of someone's experience, they're already better at telling you everything. You can spend 20 years, with very little, traction versus maybe spending 5 years of intense experience and exposure. So it's not really about the time. So usually what I recommend is when you get into a mentorship relationship, firstly, find out what it is about the mentor that you like so much. So for example, I could actually get myself a mentor, a leadership mentor, or let's just say I want to start a coaching business and I get a mentor, someone who started a coaching business. Now I'm an ideas person. Now, if I get a mentor who is an ideas person, maybe that's not exactly what I need. Maybe I need someone who's very good with execution as a mentor. So someone who started a coaching business, but also is able to hold me to account so that I can execute. So it's important that you almost look into what your mentor tends to be very good at in terms of attributes, and that will guide you in terms of what to listen to. So I find, for example, I actually have 3 or 4 leadership mentors. One helps me with strategy. So when we're talking about strategy, it's about ideas. Then someone else is there to look at my personality. So I tend to be someone who's very frank, and they're often there to ensure that they balance me out and call me out when things are not going wrong. So essentially know why you have actually appointed that mentor, and that will guide your decision making. Then the other thing is, ultimately, you're the captain of that entire relationship, even as a mentee. So whatever your mentor tells you, you've got the right to take what you find will be useful and what will not be useful. And so for as long as you're still finding that the mentor is most of the times giving you advice that you're taking in, then I think that relationship can still be good to go. But, as times progress and as you get better and better, you may find that a lot of the things that are now happening in that relationship may no longer be serving you. And at that time, it's your time to actually maybe think about moving on and finding another mentor that you believe will take you to the next level. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you, Frank. Frank taught me so much about finding your core values. And I still struggle with that. I still struggle to find that one core value that defines me. And I had to wrap it all up in wisdom. That's what I value most. And he keeps asking me, so what does that mean for you? Why wisdom? And I said, but that means everything that I want in a value, I can find in wisdom. Other questions? Anyone else who would like to ask a question? Monica?
Yes, actually I have many questions, but I'm scared that maybe they are too naive because I just opened my mind to a vision of mentoring and coaching, mentee and coachee. So I started notice this relationship when I took recently a course in which I was looking at my teachers as someone that I was really looking at them and dreaming to become as they are, So, and I thought that was more mentoring, but I was actually paying a lot for the course. So as it has been told right now, it is actually a coaching, it's not a mentoring. And I also realized that for my personal experience, that these two things are really braid together, right? They can be sometimes the same thing for certain aspect or for certain people. What do you think? Am I seeing this thing from a really naive point of view, or what do you think? They are really somehow they are really the same thing from my point of view. There are also many differences and we touch them, but from my naive point of view, when you really believe in someone that is leading you, it can lead you in a life basis, like daily basis, or it can also guide you through a course or through achieve goals that you maybe didn't even know that you were setting in your life, and you realize that you found a path in front of you, and that is the leader of your way. So maybe I still have a naive point of view. Maybe it's that.
Who would like to answer her? Maybe Estelle or Kelly?
Yeah. So no, I don't think that you're, and maybe it's a little bit unfair because I also now know you as well. But I don't think that it's naive for you at all. And it's a great question. And I can see where, especially in a learning environment, when you're doing a course, specifically like the kind of course that you were doing, that you would look to someone who has all that experience, they've got the knowledge, and they're teaching you something very, very specific, like coding or project management or something really, really specific. So there you have also the element of a teacher, right, which is a slightly different type of person that you would turn to. So I still feel that it's quite different in terms of a coach or mentor, and then of course the teacher that you probably would be more used to in that environment. So no, but it is great to remain curious and to tap into all those different people that you come across in your career, but because they will all add different value in a different way, and help you think in a different way, regardless of whether you call them a coach or a mentor or a teacher. So yeah.
I'd just also like to chip in. I think this is actually a teaching point for a lot of coaches and mentors, aspiring coaches and mentors. So when you first engage a client, you see the whole term coach, mentor, teacher, that's technical language. And the onus is not on your customer to actually know what it is. I mean, for you as a customer, you empower yourself by knowing what the difference between the three is. But I think the major thing is have an agreement of what you guys define as coaching, mentoring, or teaching between one another, and find out if you're being asked to be, for example, a few times I've gone for coaching engagements where actually the leaders are looking for advisory. They need someone to advise them. And so there and there, I now have to decide, can I actually help this person or should I refer them to someone else? So it's for me, I'm not too rigid about getting the definitions right. For as long as you, the customer and the service provider, agree on what is required and you can deliver on that, then you're good to go. So I think that's something I just wanted to add to that.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Frank.
That's good. I think we have time for one or two more questions. Kate, I see that you've unmuted yourself.
Yes. Hey, so I have a question for Estelle. I used to work at Secfi as an HR manager, and Secfi is a startup in the tech sector in Amsterdam. And one of the problems that we always had was startups, they never have money. There aren't a lot of senior members that you can look up to or learn from. So one of the things that a lot of employees asked me is, hey, how can I grow if I don't have any senior people to look up to or learn from? So I tried talking to Google to see if they can sponsor us mentors to teach our young, really high potential employees to be better product managers, coders, HR managers. That didn't work out, obviously. But now that I've heard Estelle talk about the payment for mentorship, I do understand it a bit better. Do you have any ideas on how this issue could be solved regarding connecting young, talented people to the more senior members that have had the experience? Because in the company, I was a coach, so I now also see the difference between mentorship and coaching. I was curious on your thoughts about that subject.
That's actually a really, really great question, and one that we often get. And I think also, it is also one of the main reasons that Mentor Jam now exists. In actual fact, is I was in that exact situation in my last HR job, where I built a great internal mentoring program, and but I needed some external skills. I needed some external, just a diverse point of view on, topics and challenges that employees were facing internally. So now what Mentor Jam does, is we work with clients to help corporate clients to really help with that point. And often when we approach a startup, they would say, we have these employees, they need external mentors, can you help us? So we have a pool of mentors that we are collecting through with tons of different companies, international companies, who provide external mentors to, for instance, startups through our community, through our platform, that we can then help companies such as startups with very small budgets to tap into those really great skills. And through the power of the community and the networking, we're able to connect people who would have never had opportunity to work with each other ever. Example, maybe a developer in a young startup being able to receive mentorship from someone in Facebook or in wherever, Tesla or whatever, helping them connect, making that connection through the community that we've established. So there are tons and tons of different ways that startups could tap into mentoring. That's not, kind of internal company, within their organization.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question, but it is really why we're doing what we're doing, because I exactly had that problem.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. I mean, it never came up to me to think about Mentor Jam, but because I was looking through Google, I thought, oh, big company, they have loads of mentors, but in the end, it didn't work out. So thanks for the tip. I will definitely recommend it to Secfi.
Yeah, Gavin, I see that you're unmuted. Would you like to ask a question?
Just a couple of comments, though, picking up, there's been comments made on, what is your core value? For me, it's integrity. And, I've seen the difference that a good coach can, or a good mentor can make, to the point that I actually call my mentor Auntie Shell instead of just Shell, because we've coached, she guided me on some extremely personal topics, and we've shared a lot. Now, how do you know when the time is right, when you are right to take the next step and become a mentor yourself?
That's an excellent question. Let's ask Kylene, because I know that she's a mentor for many people.
When I was ready, I didn't think I was ready. It was purely because one of my mentors said, you are ready. And I, if I think back correctly, I think somebody had asked me for help, and I had then gone to my mentor and said, oh, they want me to help them. I can't help them. I don't. And what they, what they did is they gave me the confidence and courage to do it. Now, with too many years under my belt, what I look for now, and what I would say is, there will be people that are not where you are already. So there will be people that haven't even thought of taking those first few steps. So even if you're in your journey, you think you're only step 2, there's probably people that haven't taken the first step, or, they haven't even considered it. So there are people that you can already add value to. So there's already people that will be looking for the knowledge and experience that you have in your life. So when somebody asks, be open to say, let's have a conversation and talk to them and see. And like Frank was saying, whether it's coaching or mentoring, that conversation where you're learning what they want, why they've come to you, what they're hoping to get out of the relationship, that is critical, because that's where you need to be going. Can I add value? Can I be of service to this person? And when you're listening to them and they're asking for A and B, and you're going, wow, I've already achieved A and B. Yes, I can support them. But like Frank said, maybe B, you're not there yet. So you would be honest and you say, hey, I can help you with A, and then I'd recommend you go to somebody else for B. And you be upfront and you share that with them. So, but I think we're all adults, so we've got life experiences, ups and downs, so much skills and knowledge, that there are so many people in the world that haven't got to where we are. So we all have something of value that we can share and offer people. Yeah. Does that help, Gavin?
That definitely helps, yes.
Beautiful. Back to you, Elizabeth.
We will have a second panel discussion. We're planning 4 for this year. The next one will be on networking, how to find a network. I'm very interested in knowing how coaches, because I always see coaches and mentors are part of a, they never do this on their own, and they get certified to become a coach on various levels. And it depends on what type of coach you are, because if you're a business coach or a personal coach, it will be a different kind of group that you join and a different way of getting accredited. But that is a talk for the future. Thank you very much, Kylene and Frank and Estelle and our guests, for joining us. I would like to encourage you to approach our coaches and networkers if you do need help. They are part of our Cerebrate group, and I can give you the information if you need to reach out to them. But other than that, I look forward to seeing you at the next panel discussion in June. Thank you very much.